Hello, you motorcycle enthusiasts. Today we're going to take apart the Keihin PWK 36 together as preparation for cleaning. And as you can see, there are more hoses attached here than in the garden section of a hardware store. So I'm going to take those off first, and then we'll continue. Alright folks, we've removed the hoses, and first I'll show you what tools we'll need today. We'll need a Phillips screwdriver of this size, PH2. Flathead screwdrivers in various sizes, a 14mm open-end ring spanner, a 6mm open-end ring spanner, and a drift punch. We'll start by disassembling the float chamber. These are the 4 Phillips screws in size PH2. Alright, the 4 screws are out. One more thing I wanted to mention, which is very important. Even if it's been thoroughly cleaned from the outside, please make sure to check the Phillips screws beforehand to see if there's still any dirt inside. Otherwise, the screwdriver won't grip properly. And another good idea is, if you don't want to remember where all the hoses go, just take 1 or 2 photos beforehand, and that will help a lot. Alright, now we'll lift off the cover here. And first we need the tower. The float is mounted here on an axle. And this little axle, can you see it? Yes, we'll push it out here. Normally, it should move quite easily. I'll push it back in and show you. Please take a look in here. It's actually held in place by the float chamber. There's a stopper here, so it can't slip out. That's why it sits loosely there and doesn't need to be fastened separately. Let's take it out and set it aside here. Now you can remove the float. The float needle valve is attached to the float. Let's carefully slide it down here. Now it is completely and entirely off. Oh, that still looks very, very clean. The float actually still looks quite fresh. And in good condition, please do check it thoroughly, but it appears perfectly straight and has not absorbed any fuel whatsoever through that small critical hole. And now, as we continue our work with the main jet, we will definitely need to use the 6mm box end wrench for this next step. I'll use the box end. Next up we have the idle jet, which is precisely located right here within this specific recess. Pay attention. Please make sure to use a suitable flathead screwdriver. Apply a bit of pressure and give it a small twist. To loosen the idle jet. And finally, there's one more jet located here. This jet is responsible for drawing in fuel for the cold start enrichment, that is for the choke. And now I'll unscrew it as well. Very gently, since it's a really tiny one. So you can't mix anything up during reassembly. I'll lay them out here for you, because they don't fit anywhere else. So here we have the main jet, the idle jet, and the jet through which the cold start system receives fuel. In the next step, we'll unscrew the mixture screw, which is located down here. Of course, you can first also check what setting it was on. So screw it all the way in, counting how many turns it takes. That way you'll have the same setup as you had before. So it's pretty very long. Let's wait a moment. And then I'll show you something else. Ah yes, everything stayed on here. On the screw, there's a spring, a washer in front of the spring, and an O-ring in front of that. I'll slide it down now. That's the correct order for reassembly later on. If it doesn't come out as smoothly as it did for me, just bend a small hook out of a paper clip. Usually the washer and the ring stay inside the channel, and with that you can carefully remove them. Next, we'll remove the choke. We'll need a 14mm open-end wrench for this. There's not much room to work here, but it works quite well. It's already loosened. It's screwed in here. There it is already. And finally, we'll remove the top cover here. There are Allen screws in here. I actually withheld the tool from you earlier. They're on pretty tight so be a bit careful. Normally you should remove this on the vehicle since the throttle cable is attached here. Inside we have the spring, and if it comes out easy right, there we have the slide. If you also want to remove the needle jet from the slide, you'll need a 6mm socket wrench. There's a hexagon up here in this part where the throttle cable is hooked in. You can see that clearly. And if I unscrew this here now, the part comes out, and then I can push out the needle if I want to change its position or replace it with a new one. In theory, you can remove the jet. There are two screws here. These are the hollow box screws, here and here. These ones. But the jet is not available as a spare part. That's why we're leaving it in. Yeah, folks, that's basically it. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to leave a like. And I'd be especially happy if you subscribed as well.